And now in studio now I have Antoinette Keegan from the Stardust Victims Committee. Good morning to you, Antoinette. How are you?
No.
Well, I just said casually, how are you? But how are you?
Not good. Not good at all.
I mean, I've been talking to you. This has been going on for 38 years or so. I've been talking to you for on and off for the past 20, and things just, I don't know whether they're stayed the same or just gotten worse.
It's just every time we think that we're going somewhere, an obstacle smacks us right in the face. It's just, like, we thought this process would have been up, running, sailing, everything would have been grand, like as we were promised on the 24th of January from Finian McGrath, and his deputy was present, Damien O'Farrell. We had our researcher there, our fire expert, and myself and my mother, were called in that night at 7 o'clock into government buildings to try and negotiate for Finian to go with the government, because they were going to amend Tommy Brown's motion, and we were promised that everything that we were looking for was going to be on the table. Where we are now is there's a copyright case in the High Court where the government told Geraldine Foy that her reports would never be used. She's our researcher. Yeah. Yet they used her for the Gallagher process and the coffee process. This is the eminent legal person that was appointed by the government to have a look at the nothing but the truth and see if there was going to be a commission of investigation or a new inquiry. And Mr. Gallagher used Geraldine Foy's report, and then when he was found out that he was involved with the Stardust on the inquest for the coroners, we had to ask for him to leave, because we needed somebody that was going to be impartial. He was working on behalf of Garda Síochána.
How long has he been involved in it?
John Gallagher was only there for a couple of months. Okay.
Now, just before you talk about what's happening today, can I just sort of backtrack a little bit over the years? I mean, you're saying Finian McGrath has promised you things. How many times have you heard that promise over the past nearly 40 years?
Loads of times. It's just been successfully promise. I'm not all broken promises. We actually even had her in writing from Fianna Fáil, signed by Micheál Martin, that if there was going to be a commission of investigation, that they would support it. Now, they were part of government, and they went with Fine Gael and the other parties that are in government.
Okay, because you've been through I can't over the 40 years, so many governments. You've been through so many, and each time, is it like sometimes if you go to the hospital and you have to see a particular surgeon and maybe one of his underlings sees you instead, and you have to start explaining things again? Does this happen each time there's a change of government? It's have to go over and over things.
It's not again. It's not even the government, because we don't ever have the opportunity of meeting government,
Or ministers, particular ministers.
No, none of the only minister that met us, was Frances Fitzgerald, and the only reason why she met us was because myself and Eugene Kelly sat in government buildings, and refused to leave after having a meeting with Aidan O'Riordan. Refused to leave until I got a date to meet her. And when I did meet her, she said to me in the room that we met, she said, "You done a sit-in protest in government buildings." And she said, "You wouldn't leave till you got an appointment to see me. Now I'm here, what do you want?" That's the way she approached me.
Okay. So, I mean, the enthusiasm and the fervour hasn't waned in any way with the committee. We're talking about the committee because apart from the physicality of what you've been through over the past many years, it's been financially a problem, and it's getting more so now. So I just want to put out there, if anybody's listening, the Stardust Victims Committee, they have a bank account. It's Ulster Bank, Coolock Village, and the account number is 743-71027, and the sort code is 985015. I'll give that out again. The account number is 743-71027, and the sort code is 985015, and just maybe €1, 50 cents, whatever, from anyone in the area. This was the greatest, I think, disaster that's ever happened over in this area of the city, and I think it boggles the mind. A lot of people, every time it comes up, people can't understand why it's been going on for so long. Can you understand that? I mean, I know your frustration, but people going, what the hell is going on? Because the media sort of gives some stories as well that sort of seems to imply that everything is fine and it's going to be sorted out at last.
Yeah, well, that's the media getting the wrong information, because like, we gave information to the media and the Department of Justice rang the media up to tell them that that wasn't true. Like, we're actually getting thrown, right, to the Department of Justice all the time, right? And they have, like, I have an audio recording, right, where the principal officer of the Taoiseach states on it, right, the Department of Justice, your dear friend Sean Aylward, he was the Secretary General, Michael McDowell, the Taoiseach, right, don't want to do anything with Stardust. Now, imagine having that audio recording. I have that still, and that was on the collapse of the Gallagher. Right, so that proves their point, right? It's the Department of Justice that's just degrading us that bad, right? That are actually making us now that we want to give up on this, but I can't give up on it.
Okay, it's been. I can see that it's still the same, but your tenacity is to be commended. But I'm sure everyone on the committee feels exactly the same way. Now, the finances of it that I mentioned, and we were asking for people's help here, what sort of a burden is that at the moment, and how does it impede your case?
Well, at the moment, right, our researcher and the fire expert have a High Court case, and they explained all this to Finney McGrath before this process was even set up, that they cannot use their work because it's involved in a High Court case for copyright, which the Department of Justice used it, right, without her consent or his consent, and they actually have it pasted on the Department of Justice website, right? They never paid for it because the legal person that was involved in the review for Nothing But the Truth, Paul Coffey, he decided, because it was a physical apocalypse, right, that there was a what you call it, balance of 200,000 to be paid to our solicitor Greg O'Neill, and he decided, because there was a physical apocalypse, right, that he'd only pay 20,000, but it didn't stop him taking his full money.
Okay. So the thing that sort of probably has a lot of people confused, and me a little bit as well, is that forensically all the things have been proven on how the fire started. Am I right in saying that? Well,
from our side, with all our expertise and the experts are coming in, we had to research and get and fundraise to pay them.
Yeah, but it's been established.
It's been established from our side, yeah.
Okay.
But the government won't accept it. The minister got the whole lot. It was hand delivered to her by Richard by Barrett the day the Dáil went into recess. When the government went, Richard by Barrett walked across the floor, the chambers, and handed her 2 envelopes, right, of all the evidence, and she has done nothing about it. Nothing at all.
Okay. So when you say that she has done nothing about it, what exactly do you want? To the extent of, I mean, instead of all this business of court all the time and causing you financial burdens and having to do what you have to do, sort of thing, what exactly are you looking for?
We want the government.
I mean, you have the evidence.
Yeah, we want the government to meet the obligations, right? There is an obligation there, right? The right to life. We want the government to vindicate and validate the 48 lives. We want the government to admit that there is new evidence and let us move on. But right now, because we're left in this situation, right, that there's absolutely nothing there for us, right, how do we proceed?
Okay.
It's like going in front of a judge and you haven't got a solicitor.
Okay.
You can't do it. And there's no way that a judge can sit there and look at hearsay. Geraldine Foy, our researcher, and Robin Knox have both got everything backed up with evidence. Right down to the last stop. It's all backed up.
Now, Geraldine, as we said, she did all the research on it over the years, and she has all that on file as well.
She has, yeah. There's actually 5 lads that are dead before the sea fire, and we have that from a forensic pathologist. This is the evidence, right, where the fire started in the roof space. We have all of that, and because we have got all the evidence backed up, right, it's the Department of Justice playing this game, right, that we're not going to do anything for you. This is what you're getting, and accept it. Yeah, Finney McGrath sent me a letter on the 15th of March, and he said in the letter, my clear position
Is this a direct quote now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My clear position was and still is to assist you all. The staff are in place to help you, and the judge you wanted was appointed. The process is there to support you, and everything is on the table, including costs. That is what I promised, and that is the way forward to engage. But yet when I got the cabinet memo, there is nothing on the table for us, absolutely nothing. If the judge decides, I mean, that's degrading. That's degrading the families, it's degrading the researcher, it's degrading experts that we have on our side, not even a mention for a solicitor.
Mm-hmm. It seems to have hit stalemate again. That's the way it seems to me now. So
because every time we think we're going somewhere, right, something stops us. And I actually blame the Department of Justice, right, and I blame the Minister of Justice. And Finney McGrath is in a great position now. He has power in his hands, right. He can approach the Minister for Justice and tell her, right, this is not what you promised me. These families, right, want closure. They want the truth, right. Now you give everything that you put on the table. Tommy Brown's motion, that would have been passed. But Finney McGrath, he didn't want to go away from the government. He didn't want the government collapsing. I can understand that we didn't want another election.
I don't think the government would have collapsed over it, though. I mean,
well, if Finney McGrath had went with Tommy Brown,
yeah, okay. Well, it must be, as I said earlier on, very frustrating for you in every sense of the word over the years. But again, sort of the question comes up: everything has been established. So when forensically it's been done, Geraldine has done all the research, done all the work, where the fire was started. Now when you say new evidence, what exactly does that mean? In relation to what?
Well, the new evidence is a 999 call that's not on public record. This is when the fire actually broke out, and it's at an earlier time than the sea fire. It broke out, but the call was logged at 1:43 from a resident that was 220 metres away.
Okay.
She noticed it at an earlier time than what's on the call log. She thought, it was McMahon's timber yard, and then she made the phone call, and in the same minute, 1:43, there was another call made from inside the staircase at 1:43 to say there was a seat on fire. But there was a massive inferno in the roof at the same time as a little small fire on the sea.
Okay.
And that call is not recorded.
And is that where the discrepancies is all about the time?
The floor,
time frame.
The map is wrong. The use in the Tribunal of Inquiry, that's wrong. And when there's something technically wrong, it has to be reheard. The government has an obligation to do this. It's not like have somebody else look at this. It's up to the state to correct this. It wasn't up to us to go finding all these things out. We were the families that suffered, but they left a hindrance on us, right, that we had to do all of that.
That's what I can understand to an extent as well, is over the years, every time I'm talking to you and every time I read something about it, I'm going, surely this is the onus is on the government.
This has gone back to Bertie Hayne. He sent a letter to my mother because my mother asked him to open up the Stardust inquiry, and I think it was in July 2003. He sent a letter to my mother saying, you get the evidence and I'll open it. We got the evidence, and this is what we've been treated like. Like, it should have been a proper inquiry. I know that the Stardust inquiry sat for 122 days, right? But it was not. It was it was all inconclusive, probable arson, and yet there was no evidence to back it up.
Okay.
It meant everyone that was there that night was an arsonist. My 2 sisters and 46 other victims went to their grave, labelled arsonists.
So is this sort of over the many years, as I say, nearly 40 years, is this an ebb and flow all the time? Like, we read about it, something comes up every year or 2 years, and then you don't hear about it again. What happens in the undercurrent of all the when you hear all these things? What's happening at that time?
Behind closed doors?
In the intervening time.
Oh, we're still working away because,
like I know that, but what's happening otherwise? Are you just hitting blank walls all the time? Yeah, just hitting a brick wall, yeah.
Okay. Because with the support that we thought we had with Finian, right, I don't know whether, I'm not slagging him off, right, but at the same time, right, he's not coming back and telling us what's going on. He's not there, like, telling us, right, this is what's happening next. And I've been speaking to the Minister and I'm getting this sorted out. We're getting told nothing, we're left in the dark. Okay.
How long is the last time we tried to ring him to see can we get him, but I know he's a busy man, but maybe he'll come on before I finish today, and maybe we'll see what's happening in the meantime. So is that the way it is? You're pushing forward all the time, just trying to get something done, but financially, like, it's a burden as well. That's stunting what you're trying to do as well.
Yeah, but like if we had the funds, right, we wouldn't be like going to the government, right. We'd actually get involved in this process, because that way our researcher and the fire expert could go and sort out our high court costs, right. Forget about the copyright and get this done for us, right, because everything that they have is all fact and it's backed up with evidence. And I think that's why they are doing this to us, because they know we're in a situation where we can't move.
I know. I mean, I've talked to you many times, and I just let you sort yourself out there for a second. I know you're getting upset because it's frustrating, and I can feel every time I talk to you, I can feel the frustration in it. With as far as I know, I keep harping on about this, but because I want to get it across to people about the financial side of it, that if a miracle tonight and you won the Euro Millions, that you could sort of go independently apart from the government. Would that be a true statement?
Yeah.
So it's all about the money, really.
It's about money, yeah.
Okay.
And Francis Fitzgerald was saying, right, and others were saying that this what was the word they were using? Shouldn't be a price tag on it. There shouldn't be. It was my 2 sisters, right, and 46 others, to have their right to life vindicated and validated. They became insignificant through successive governments.
And that's what I'm trying to say. The lip service you've been getting over about the 40 years. Okay. So I'll give out those numbers again. If anyone wants to make a donation of any kind at all towards the Stardust Victims Committee, it's in Ulster Bank in Coolock. It's 74371027 and the sort code is 985015. Again, the account number is 74371027 and the sort code is 985015. Now, apart from getting finances together and going to court again, are you still waiting for Finian to come back to you with information?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
With positive information. I don't want them coming back saying I'm still working. I want them coming back with positive so that we can move. I mean, this whole process was set up on the 25th of January. It was the motion on the 25th of January. And it was all over media, and media was like... And the same with the anniversary. It only happens once a year. And then
what about other ministers? There's lots of them here in Fingal. What about other ministers? Do they have any interest in it, or did you just sort of say, well, we let Finian look after that?
Well, I've approached Darragh O'Brien. He's not minister, he's only TD. But Richard Bruton, he wouldn't even come to the phone.
Okay.
Who else is there around here?
No, but over the years anyway,
I met Richard Bruton, and he came back and said, like, there's nothing he can do.
And Tommy Brown's been a force.
Tommy Brown has been a force.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that about Finian, because Finian was as well.
Mm-hmm.
Finian McGrath was always there for us, but for some reason, like, it seems as though we're just being left in the dark now.
Mm-hmm.
And Tommy Brown has been always there. Right? He's been our backbone.
Okay.
Like, and so I could never take that away from him. Richard Barrett has been there as well. Sinn Féin, Jerry Adams, Mary Lou. The whole lot of them have been there for us, right? And
but it's all been sort of in vain, really. I mean, when you think about it, okay.
Like, you go in and meet them, right? And then there's a shout, like, across the floor, the dog floor, right? And then the Taoiseach is saying, like, you know, that before this all starts, right, that the government will meet the families.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is ever going to happen about that.
Okay.
Because the Taoiseach refused to meet us. He wouldn't meet us. And all the years that he's been in government, right, when he was in opposition, he came to me while I was doing a sit-in protest in government buildings, waiting to get the eminent person appointed. That was Paul Coffey. And he was appointed that day on the 8th of July. The Taoiseach came down to me and the Kenny and said, there's my mobile number. If I ever get into power, I will make sure that you never have to make another call to this government or to this building. I'll make sure I get everything sorted out for you. And he got into power. I rang and rang and rang, and he wouldn't answer my phone calls.
Okay.
In actual fact, he made a call to me and asked me, right, in December, right, 2011 I think it was, asked me why don't I accept the justice I got like other families did. That's what he said to me on the phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go from here, Antoinette? I mean, as I say, like, it's all about the money now, and we will see what happens there to the extent, and you're waiting for something to come back. I mean, I can't believe over the intervening years and all the times, as I say, that we've talked, and you've talked to many people on Near FM and in other stations as well, that there hasn't been a complete and utter uproar all the time. And I think it's because a lot of people listening to you and that read about it, as I said earlier on, sort of get the opinion that things are happening.
Yeah, that's the way it's left. People think, like, you know, when this comes up, right, did you get stopped in the street? I thought that was all sorted out.
Yeah.
but they don't really actually know what's going on behind closed doors, because like when you try to tell media, right, media goes to the Department of Justice say no, that's not true, so they're not printing anything.
Okay, I'll give out that number again, and the as I said, no matter what it is you may have, if you could make a kind donation to the Stardust Victims Committee, and the account number is 74371027, sort code 985015. I'll leave the final words to you, Annette, before we go to the break. What would you like to say to
I'd
our
like to
listeners?
just say, right, that I would appreciate any assistance from the public, right, and any way that they can, like as you said, even a euro, right, whatever they can afford, right. But I would like to emphasise, right, that like I said before, there shouldn't be a price tag on it, right, but this is the position that we've been left in.
And the fight goes on.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to say thank you very much for coming in, and tenacity and resilience is terrific, and to all the members of the committee. Thanks very much, Annette.
Thanks, Noel.